I want a $2,000 new phone. You'll upgrade me, my sister's son texted. I replied, "To chance." Minutes later my sister wrote, "Agree or you're banned from family events." That night I reversed the transfer for their car payment. By 7:22 a.m. they were begging me to call back. But when I read the message I almost passed out from aggression. I didn't even finish chewing my breakfast. My throat closed up with pure fury. Caleb, my 19-year-old nephew who had never worked a full week in his life, who still didn't know how to check his bank balance, was demanding that I spend $2,000 on him for a phone upgrade. Like I was some kind of tech sponsor. Like I was just waiting around for his next list of needs. I answered immediately. One word. No. I put my phone down and stood there for a second, trying to process how someone raised by my own sister could be this far gone. But then again, maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. April had raised him to believe he was owed everything because she believed that too. He always had. 5 minutes after I sent that reply, my phone buzzed again. April. Agree or you're banned from family events. No hi. No explanation. No shame. Just a full-blown threat, as if being left off the invitation list for another one of her microwaved lasagna nights would break me. I sat down and stared at the screen. This wasn't just a text. This was the last slap in a long line of slaps I'd tolerated for years. I had bent over backwards for April. I covered her rent once when they were about to get evicted. I bought Caleb his textbooks for community college. He dropped out after 2 weeks. I paid for his car repairs when he rear-ended someone in a Starbucks drive-thru. I covered groceries when her fridge was empty. I even helped her set up a cleaning side gig that she walked away from after one client left a bad review. I was a single mom too. My daughter Mia is 13. I've raised her without a penny of support from her father, who bailed before she could say, "Dad." I work hard, manage my money, and we're doing okay. Not rich, but stable. I built this life from scratch. Alone. But somehow in my sister's eyes that meant I owed her. She always played the victim. April had this way of sucking the oxygen out of any room with her drama. If her power got cut off, it was everyone else's fault. If Dave, her husband, came home late, it was because someone was out to ruin their marriage. And if I ever said no even once, I was jealous or trying to control her. That night I stayed up too late thinking about it all. The years of being used. The manipulation. The guilt trips. The holidays where I paid for everything and she still made passive comments about how I liked to show off. I remembered something that made my decision even easier. 2 days ago I had sent April $800 to help with the car payment. She didn't even say thank you. She messaged me later asking if I could just handle the next one too, since Dave's paycheck was short again. I opened my laptop and reversed the transfer. $800. Gone from her account. At 7:22 a.m. the next morning, the panic started. My phone was blowing up. 6 missed calls from April, 3 from Dave, 4 from Caleb. I didn't answer. At 7:36, Caleb texted me again. "WTF did you do? Mom's crying. Fix this now." I didn't fix anything. I turned my phone off completely and went about my morning. Took Mia to school. Got my coffee. Sat down at work. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years when it came to my sister. Peace. But I knew April. She wasn't going to let this go. She was going to escalate. She always did when she lost control. And I was right. The next thing she did. No one saw that coming. Not even me. By noon the next day I'd lost count of how many calls I'd ignored. My voicemail was full. My text notifications were piling up with everything from fake apologies to full-on threats. April tried every tactic she could think of. Guilt, manipulation, pity. Caleb told me I was destroying his chances and acting like a jealous old woman. Dave left me 3 voicemails, all saying he didn't want to get involved in sister stuff, but also that the money I reversed put them in a serious bind. None of it moved me. They weren't my problem anymore. Then around 3:40 p.m. my cousin Lindsay sent me a message that made my blood run cold. "Hey, are you okay? Have you seen April's Facebook?" I didn't even reply. I just opened the app and my heart nearly stopped. There was a post from April. Public. Not just for friends. Public. The photo she posted was one of the most private things I'd ever shared with anyone. 2 years ago I had dated someone for a short time, someone I trusted. During that relationship I sent a few photos. Nothing trashy. Just personal. Vulnerable. One of those photos was now on April's timeline, with dozens of reactions and comments already attached. Caption read, "This is what a responsible single mother looks like when she's not busy judging everyone else's life." I stopped breathing for a second. Thought I might pass out. My hands were shaking so badly I had to sit down. The photo had been up for 53 minutes by the time I saw it. I could see who had liked it. A few coworkers. Old family friends. One of Mia's teachers. I felt sick. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I got in my car and drove. April opened the door acting like she had no idea why I was there. Like I'd shown up uninvited to brunch. I slapped her across the face. I didn't say anything. I just turned around and left. She screamed after me something about me being crazy. But I didn't even hear it. My ears were buzzing. I didn't care what she said. I didn't care what anyone thought. That line she crossed? There was no coming back from that. When I got home, the post was gone. She had deleted it. But the damage was done. People had seen it, shared it, saved it. I even got a message from one of Mia's friends' moms asking if I was okay. And now I wasn't just angry. I was done. But I wasn't helpless. Because in a folder on my desktop I had something I never planned to use. Screenshots. Messages. Dates. Names. I'd kept them in case something like this ever happened, and I never thought it actually would. April's marriage wasn't what she made it out to be. And Dave. He had no idea what his wife had been doing behind his back. But he was about to find out. I gave her one more night. Not because I felt sorry for her, but because I wanted her to enjoy those final hours of peace before everything came crashing down. I wanted her to sleep soundly thinking she'd won, that she'd embarrassed me, shamed me, and put me back in my place. Instead, I was sitting at my kitchen table before sunrise, scrolling through the folder I'd kept hidden for almost a year. Screenshots. Messages. Pictures. She thought she was untouchable, but she had no idea I had the receipts. Her little affair started 10 months ago. With a man named Ray. Not some ex, not some online stranger. Ray worked with Dave. He was younger, married, and just as much of a loser as April. It started as flirty texts. Then turned into late-night errands. Then there were the pictures. Nothing subtle. She sent him things I wish I could unsee. And she was dumb enough to complain about Dave to him in the same threads. She even bragged once that she was sick of carrying a grown man with a discount job, and needed a real man to entertain her. I never planned to use any of it. I just kept it as insurance because April had always been unstable and unpredictable. But after what she did, after she posted that photo of me for the whole town to see, the game changed. And now I had nothing to lose. At 9:14 a.m. sharp, I sent Dave a simple message. Can we talk? I think you should see something. He didn't ask questions. Just said, when and where. We met at a little coffee shop near his work. He looked rough. Tired, pale, like he hadn't slept much in weeks. I handed him my phone without a word. The folder was open. The evidence was lined up. I didn't say anything while he scrolled. I just watched the color drain from his face. He stared at one screenshot for a long time. It was from 3 months ago. April texting Ray about a night she pretended to be out with friends, but was actually in a motel on the edge of town. Dave finally looked up at me. His voice was low. How long have you had this? I told him the truth. Nearly a year. I kept quiet because I didn't want to blow up his life. I figured it wasn't my place. But then April made it mine. She dragged my name, my body, and my dignity through the mud in front of our entire family and half the people in town. Dave didn't say anything else. He just stood up, nodded, and left with my phone still in his hand. I didn't even ask for it back. By Friday I started hearing things. April called me 7 times in one day. I didn't answer once. Then came the texts. First blaming me, then threatening me, then suddenly switching to begging. Dave had left. Packed a bag, took the car, and disappeared. Caleb was posting bizarre, passive-aggressive things online. Fake family, backstabbers, snakes hiding behind smiles. I didn't even look twice. But the real punch came Sunday night. My phone buzzed. It was a screenshot from my cousin Jenna. April had tried spinning some ridiculous story in the family group chat, claiming I broke into her Facebook, photoshopped the affair screenshots, and that I was jealous of her life. Problem was, someone else had already saved and shared April's original post of me. The one with my photo. The one she claimed never existed. The cousins turned on her instantly. And for the first time ever, April found herself standing alone. But humiliation wasn't enough for her. She wasn't done. There was still one more stunt left in her. One final pathetic attempt to pull me back into her mess. It would be the last. Thought it was over. I really did. I thought once Dave walked out, once the family saw her true colors, April would finally back off. But no, she wasn't done. Monday morning I dropped Mia off at school and stopped for gas. While I was filling up, I noticed a woman 2 pumps over staring at me. Not just a glance, staring. She looked familiar, but I couldn't place her. As I was getting back into my car, she called out, "You're Evelyn, right? April's sister." I nodded slowly. She said, "You were going through something. Just wanted to let you know. People talk. Hope you're okay." And she drove off. My stomach flipped. By the time I got home, I had 5 new messages from random accounts on Facebook and Instagram. Strangers. Saying all kinds of things. I didn't understand what was happening until I opened a link someone sent me. April had posted again. Not on her profile this time. On a local gossip group. One of those community tea pages with over 18,000 members. The kind where people post complaints about neighbors and restaurants. Only this time, April used it to create an anonymous post titled, "Beware of this woman, she'll steal your man and your money." She included one of the photos again. Blurred barely, but it was still me. She used part of my real name, enough that anyone who knew us could figure it out. She told the group I was obsessed with married men, claimed I had a long history of seducing other women's husbands, and that I had been trying to ruin her family because I was bitter about being single. Over 200 comments in an hour. Some people mocked me. Others defended me, not knowing the full story. But it didn't matter. The damage was done. I was officially the town scandal. That same afternoon, I got a call from Mia's school. Her teacher wanted to check in because Mia had mentioned people saying things online. My hands started sweating. My worst fear, Mia being pulled into this, was starting to happen. I went cold. And that's when everything changed. I called Dave. Not to stir more trouble. Not to get revenge. I was done with all that. But I told him about the gossip post. I told him Mia was being affected now. He was quiet for a moment. Then he asked for the link. An hour later, the post was gone. But what followed? I didn't expect. Dave showed up at my door. Not angry. Not confused. Calm. He had my phone in his hand, the one he left with after our meeting, and told me he'd gone through everything. All of it. Every message, every photo, every lie. He said something I'll never forget. "She's not just a bad wife. She's dangerous." Then he said he wanted a divorce. And here's the part that truly blindsided me. He asked if I would help him get custody of Caleb's younger sister, Emily. I froze. Emily was only 8. Quiet, sweet, and barely visible in that chaos of a household. I had no idea Dave was thinking that far ahead. I had no idea he even believed he could win custody. But he said he'd seen enough, and that Emily deserved better. That same week, he moved into a small apartment near Emily's school and started the paperwork. April, meanwhile, started spiraling in public. Screaming matches in parking lots. Posting vague quotes about betrayal. Messaging half the family with fake sob stories. She had no idea Dave had already shown the court the screenshots. The photos. The group post. I didn't even have to lift another finger. She was doing the job herself, digging her own grave one meltdown at a time. But what came next, no one, especially April, saw coming. By the end of the week, April was unraveling fast. She was burning through every bridge she had left. People were distancing themselves. Family chats were quiet. Even Caleb had gone mostly silent, probably too stunned watching his parents fall apart in real time. But I wasn't done. Not completely. There was one last card I hadn't played, because frankly I didn't think I'd ever need to. I found it by accident months ago, and at the time I kept it tucked away. I didn't even fully understand what I was looking at then. But now, with everything on fire, it felt like the perfect time to light the final match. It was a screenshot of a transaction April had accidentally sent to our shared group chat back when she was trying to send something privately to a friend. She deleted it within a minute, but I'd already saved it because something about it felt off. It was a payment to a woman named Brenda S., labeled for rent 3 months upfront. That alone wasn't strange, until you consider the fact that April never mentioned renting anything ever. And the date on that payment? It was from 6 months ago. So I did what April never expected me to do. I called Brenda. Told her I was a relative of April's and asked if she was still renting that 1-bedroom unit downtown. She laughed. "Oh, you mean the side place April used for a year and never paid the last month for?" My blood ran cold. She went on, totally unaware of what she was revealing. She said it was her quiet space. Her writing studio, or whatever. But we all knew she was using it for, well, not writing. And just like that, it all clicked. April had a secret apartment. Not just for her affair with Ray, but for others. Brenda said different men came and went. Sometimes during the day, sometimes at night. She assumed April was single. She had no idea she was married with kids. It was worse than I thought. She wasn't just cheating. She'd built a second life. A hidden one, paid for by money she constantly claimed she didn't have. Money she told Dave she needed for groceries. Money she guilt out of me every other month. I sent the call recording to Dave. No commentary, No explanation. Just the audio. And I attached the original transaction screenshot. 2 hours later he messaged me. She's never getting near Emily again. By the next morning, April's name was posted on the court's docket for an emergency custody hearing. She went completely silent. No more calls. No more texts. No posts. Caleb deleted most of his social media. Emily was placed temporarily with Dave while everything was processed. And then, something I never expected happened. My parents called. They had stayed mostly neutral through all of this, or so I thought. But apparently April had begged them for help. Claimed I'd destroyed her life out of jealousy. She wanted them to host a family meeting to clear the air. Instead, my mom said this. Whatever happens to her now, she earned. That night, I sat on my couch alone, scrolling through the old messages from April. All the guilt trips. All the insults wrapped in fake concern. All the demands. And I deleted every single one of them. One more part of her gone. But it still wasn't over. Because something happened at that custody hearing that made April lose whatever little grip she still had on reality. And when it did, she showed up. To my house. It was a Thursday morning. Quiet. I was working from home, Mia was at school, and the whole house felt still. The kind of stillness you don't appreciate until life has been pure chaos for weeks. Then the doorbell rang. I didn't expect anyone. I wasn't expecting anything. I got up slowly, peeked through the curtain, and there she was. April. Standing on my porch like nothing had happened. No warning. No call. Just her, eyes swollen, hair pulled back in a way I hadn't seen since we were teenagers. She looked like someone who'd slept in her car. For a second I considered not opening the door. But I did. She didn't say anything right away. Just looked at me like she was searching for some crack in my face, some sign I'd changed my mind. I need to talk, she said. I didn't move. She went on about how everything was spiraling. Dave had filed the emergency motion. Caleb wasn't speaking to her. Emily refused to come to the phone. The court had ordered a temporary restraining order until the hearing. Her lawyer had advised her to prepare for the worst. I know you hate me, she said. But I'm still your sister. That was her angle. Sisterhood. Blood. Shared childhood. Like that could undo everything. I asked her why she came here, what she thought would happen. I just want to understand why you're doing this. And that's when I realized she really didn't get it. She still thought this was something I did to her. She thought she was the victim in a war she started. She believed that if she could just talk her way out of it, like always, I'd cave. I told her everything I had kept quiet all these years. Every manipulation. Every time she took and took and took. Every fake emergency. Every lie. I told her I stayed quiet because I felt bad for her. Because I thought maybe, just maybe, she'd grow up. But she didn't. She got worse. And now she was suffering the consequences of her own actions. She stood there speechless. For the first time in my life, I saw April genuinely stunned. And then, maybe to regain control, maybe because it was all she had left, she spat out one final line. You'll regret turning this family against me. I didn't respond. I just closed the door. She didn't knock again. A week later, the court awarded Dave full custody of Emily. April was granted supervised visits, pending psychological evaluation. Caleb moved in with a friend and hasn't spoken to anyone in the family since. The rest of the family, including our parents, cut contact. April became the one name no one wanted to bring up at dinners. At birthdays. At holidays. She became an outcast the same way she tried to make me one. Me. I got my life back. No more phone calls asking for money. No more guilt. No more having to explain why I had boundaries. Mia never found out what April did online. I shielded her from it just in time. She still asks why we don't see Aunt April anymore, and I just tell her, sometimes grown-ups have to make hard choices. Because this wasn't revenge. It was survival. And I'm finally free. I didn't plan to write all of this. Honestly, when that first message from Caleb came through, the one about the $2,000 phone, I never imagined it would lead here. To court dates. To custody battles. To betrayal laid bare in front of the whole family. To slamming the door in my sister's face for the last time. I shared this story because I needed to say it out loud. To someone. Anyone. For years I kept things quiet to keep the peace. I thought it was noble or mature or just the right thing to do. But silence doesn't fix people like April. It only feeds them. Since I started telling what happened, the amount of support I've received, messages from strangers, people saying they went through something similar or that they finally saw themselves in my story, has been overwhelming. In the best way. So if you've read this far, thank you. Sincerely. For just being here. For listening. I don't know if there will be any more updates. I don't expect much to change going forward. April has vanished from most of our lives. I doubt she'll come back. Dave and Emily are rebuilding slowly and I'm helping however I can, quietly behind the scenes. But I don't know what'll happen with him. I hope one day he figures things out, but I'm not holding my breath. All I know is for the first time in a long time my world is calm. And I'm not letting anyone drag me back into chaos. Something does happen, I'll be back. But for now, this is where I leave it.